I'm actually just turning around from where you first seen me come in at. I think those wood chips are there to keep cars from coming back this way. But I find this is the perfect spot to test out my new rear suspension. These new rear springs actually give inch lifted clearance and a much more aggressive kind of lock-in off-roadiness that I need compared to the original shocks that were super soft and marshmallowy and I was bottoming out all the time. This is Tittabawassee River Road I'm coming out back onto. If anybody's from around here, they know that this road, in early spring especially, is just really, really bad. But as you can see here, it's giving me a chance to test out my front rack and mudguard. It's just a piece of metal threshold from a steel door I never used that I cut in half and made like this U shape and bolted it to the front. It seems to be working out just fine. This is one of the few turnoffs along the river road here. And actually it's kind of C-shaped with the center entrance that I'm going through. And yeah, it's quite muddy still. And the approach was a little awkward. Third gear was just wasn't having it. I wanted to try to climb up the hill here at the most steepest spot I could kind of get into. Again, wasn't really having it. Really wasn't due to lack of torque performance. It was actually, as you can see here, I was digging into the mud really, really bad. So I wasn't disappointed because I actually put on a new sprocket with an extra tooth. That should actually give me a little bit more torque performance. And I'm still testing that out for a bigger trip I have planned. Also gives me a chance to test and make sure that the rear rack setup that I have is also going to hold true and not fall apart. It's made out of the seat of an old steel chair, and I put these eye bolts on it so I could have an anchoring points for this toolbox that I use for a top case. That's where I originally wanted to come in at. As you can see, it's pretty wet and snowy even, and I didn't want to get that muddy even though there's quite a bit of mud where I did come in at. And let's not overlook this creepy cross that's here for some weird reason. It's a beautiful day out, but actually it's pretty chilly today. I forget how cold it was exactly when I went riding, but it was just above freezing from what I remember. But the sky is certainly beautiful. Alright, let's get back on it. Got a few more test runs to do back home, and the first one will be see what happens when this front wheel completely caked in mud hits about 30 miles an hour back on the road. A really nice official test of this front rack mudguard situation. I don't fall down the hill. And if I can actually put it in gear. These are all things that are very important to getting proper function out of your vehicle. I was so eager to get back out on the road that at about this point in time I realized I forgot to put my gloves on. Yeah, and with all that flying mud, really not much got me. I started to get a little worried that something might, kind of make it through and smack me in the eye as I got faster, so I did finally close my helmet there, as you see. But no, that front rack mudguard little design thing worked out great. So far everything's working out as I was hoping it would, but my hands have had pretty much enough of this open cold air, so I want to make sure I pull way off to the side of the road here. Tittabawassee River Road is known for people acting kind of a fool back here, and the field that I'm looking at there, briefly there to the left, is a series of soccer fields. I had heard, rumor, lore, or whatever you want to call it, that area, drop my glove. Follow my horn though. Was originally the very first airstrip of Midland. I don't know how true it is. I did a little research on it. I really couldn't find out anything about it. I didn't really know how to Google it, I guess, properly. But anybody that's watching this that knows for fact, or maybe could even give me a link to some photo or something about when it was an airstrip, that'd be kind of cool. But until then, all I know is that probably was an airstrip back then. Now it's soccer fields that, as far as I know, nobody uses anymore. So let's jump to this area called the Midland County Historical Park Site. There's kind of a lot going on here. Actually, I'm got a kind of like a whole little listy thing to go through. The first thing that you'll see is that big greenish structure. That's a brine well, one of the first ones, or for the most part a mockery of the very first brine wells that was made by Herbert Dow back in the day, which was pretty much what made Dow as it is today, and created the town of Midland. If it wasn't for that structure there, then none of this would happen. This whole area is actually pretty cool. There's a lot going on. The biggest one, which we'll be getting to, but I'm going to start talking about now because there's a lot to unpack, is the Bradley home, which was originally built in 1866 by Benjamin F. Bradley. Steve was quite a man about town. He opened up one of the first grocery stores and dry goods stores here in town, and was kind of a pillar of the overall community by becoming a postmaster. He was an alderman. He was a village council president, a member of the Board of Education, and ward supervisor, whatever that is. He also ran a publishing company and also an insurance company. But with all that, he still went bankrupt and lost the house in 1921. It was purchased by St. Bridget's and became the rectory until 1969, when it was slated to be destroyed, but it was saved by a preservation society and moved here and opened in 1972 to the public. The building you're looking at now is a carriage house that was also a blacksmith school. All this was a really unique public historical site, and in some ways still is, but all the buildings, as far as I know, aren't really open to the public anymore since the failures of the dams back in 2020. Me and a bunch of other people and an army of volunteers came in and salvaged what we could, but as far as I know, there's still restoration work going on to this day. Alright, now this is Main Street, so you can take a left here and it'll take you all the way out onto Saginaw Road, or if you take a right like I am, it'll shoot you into kind of like downtown Main Street. I like this little stretch for testing out like top speed on my little scooter here, because it's only a 125cc, and this next stretch is 40 miles an hour. So I get to test out this sprocket, and I don't have to hop in any road I really shouldn't be on because I'm only 125 cc's, or onto a really busy road or a country road where it could be more laden with deer. To the left of everything here is kind of a retention pond, so there's very rarely deer jumping up from that way. And then the right is the rail trail, which there could still be deer over there because, well, there could be deer anywhere. This is Midland. I've seen deer walking across downtown Main Street before. And now I'm just about topping out fourth gear, which puts me to almost violating the speed limit more than I want to, but I gotta slow way down because now it's 30 miles an hour. Some people call this kind of a speed trap. I don't know why. There's really no good spot for a policeman to hide out at anyway. Another unique feature of this town that I really like is this red bridge. It was originally a one-lane bridge, but then some trucker went over it trying to take a shortcut and overloaded it, so to deter that, they made it a one-way bridge. And then another trucker went over it trying to take a shortcut, and now it's a no-one-can-use-it bridge. Don't take shortcuts in life. It will affect others. After we cross this busy crossroad here, which is M20, we'll kind of be into downtown Midland proper. So there's to the right is the Santa House you really can't see much of, and then right next door to that is the courthouse, which I always thought was ironic. I guess one's for good little boys and girls, and one is for bad little boys and girls. So this first stop sign is Gordon Street, which is usually I'll take a left home on Gordon Street, or take a right down to the Tridge area to avoid Main Street, because actually I like Main Street. It's very nice. Like we have the H Hotel over here with Cafe Sink and a bunch of other neat little shops, but people just tend to not like pay attention or drive very savvy down here. They're usually a bit daft. But I'll take Ashman down to the kind of the main attraction that everybody goes to when they come to Midland, which is the trailhead to the rail trail, which is paved all the way to Coleman, I believe, so it's great for those that love to ride bicycles. And then this unique structure in front of me here, which is called the Tridge, which is a bridge, but instead of going just from point A to point B, there's also a point C. So now I'm climbing the hill on McDonald Road, heading back towards Main Street. And that white car is proving my point. They just blew right through a stop sign. I don't know why people can't pay attention down here. I mean, there's a lot of neat shops and unique things to look at, but please drive better. That's all I can say. And that concludes the test run for the day, anyways. And I got to do everything I was hoping to do. Hit some trail, found some mud, flung that mud to see how much would fling back onto me, which was luckily none. Climbed some hills, got to kind of wring out my top gear. Well, for the most part, I think I had a little bit more left, but I'm pretty happy with that. See here, I also didn't shake, rattle, or roll any of my cases or racks loose that I can notice. I might have to check to see all the threads are still tight when I get home. But all in all, a very successful test run. Test for what, you might be finally asking. But what it is I have a preliminary run coming up where I'll be leaving from here to Standish, and I want to stay entirely on 2 treks and trails, which should be possible when I start in Mills Township, that is. And then that's a test for a bigger, more wilder adventure coming up here, where I'll be leaving from here to Mackinac City and back. I'm pretty sure that I can go all the way up to Standish without even having to touch many dirt roads. It should be all pretty much trails and 2 treks. When going to Mackinac City, on the other hand, from what I've been able to read and research, I will probably have to get on some roads, like actual paved roads, but it should be roughly almost 80% dirt, be it dirt road, trails, or 2 treks. So that's the plan. So now that I'm happy with the way my machine is running, next thing is to go through all of my gear, figure out what gear I want to take, what kind of foods and stuff I want to take, and yeah, just figure out how I then want to attach and strap and all that kind of fun stuff onto this Brush Cub now that I've built, and go from there. So those are the next up and coming videos. Will be gear and figuring out how to make it all work. So tune in next time and see how that all goes. Thanks for watching, and take care out there.